We have our head coach in Will Wade. We're almost done assembling an assistant coaching staff. We have some supplemental players now on the roster. Is it time for the big fish, Kenton?
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Happy Wednesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we know that Will Wade's been here. He's been also hard at work assembling his staff. We have another addition to the staff to discuss here on the show in just a couple minutes. We've had a couple players come into the program, two of them from McNeese State. You have Quadir Copeland, Allen Breed. You had your first fringe five-star signee from the high school ranks for Will Wade with Matthew Abel. Paul McNeil has announced he's coming back. Still waiting for official word on Trey Parker. Are we reaching the point in the timeline where Will Wade's going to get really aggressive and go after some bigger name players? I think we are about to do so. And I want to start this discussion today talking about a point guard, because the point guard position in particular is something that we have harped on really hard the last couple of years. And Michael O'Connell, God bless him forever, he will always be a legend. He wasn't quite what we needed to maximize the offense and space the floor in the way that you always hoped that we would. And I remember talking about Jaden Bradley, who's in the portal and ended up at Arizona. We got into a bidding war, but he would have been an excellent piece because he's a true floor general. And NC State now, I think you're rapidly approaching this point of the offseason and the transfer portal cycle that they're going to start to get a little aggressive with their spending, because as we all know, the NIL numbers are way up. Wolfpack has been very hard at work. The financial resources have been put in place for Will Wade to come into NC State and succeed from year one. So what does that mean? You got to go out and get proven talents. You got to go out and get players that have done it at a high level so they can do it at NC State this coming season. So I would not be surprised if that starts with looking around at a point guard. I'll talk about a name in just a second here, but Kenton, give me your thoughts about NC State getting aggressive in going after a point guard.
Well, in the words of Juicy J and Alex Ovechkin, bands will make our dance. And at this point in time in the ball game, we've gotten the NIL support that it's clear. This is not going to be a problem where if we are in a bidding war, we are going to be outbid again for top talent at the point guard position. And even beyond that, like you said, we have the infrastructure in place now. It is good to sell the vision. It's great that Will Wade can sell the vision to a top 30 player without having the infrastructure in place. But for guys that are a little older in the portal and they're like, hey, I've been there, done that, I've heard the dreams be sold and all that, I need to see something concrete that this is the way in which we're moving. Oh, okay, great. I've got this guy who's an analytics master. I've got this guy who's super well connected. I've got this going, that going. Now is the time to capitalize and keep pushing in that direction. It's the time for it because, again, like you said, all of the structures have been set in place. Field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. He's built it. He's building it. Now it's time to go out there and get those guys to come on into Raleigh, which I think is very feasible. I don't think that that's going to be a problem for Will Wade at all, because if anybody talks about anything Will Wade, the first thing I always hear, hell of a recruiter, phenomenal recruiter. He's a great recruiter in terms of getting top talent. I want you to think about the difference in recruiting that we're seeing right now from what we've seen in the past, not just in basketball, not just in revenue-generated sports, but really in almost every sport where recruiting is like a big deal and we have websites that follow it around and all that. We just signed the 4th highest recruit ever. And today we are talking about, is it time for the big fish? Right. That, my friends, is the Will Wade effect at work.
I'm going to talk about a couple of names here. One of them has already been linked to NC State. In fact, he has a visit scheduled for, I believe, this upcoming weekend. I'm not necessarily calling these two names big fish, but it's just the general idea that NC State, it's reaching this. Now you're starting to creep into mid-April. The portal will close April the 22nd. So all the names that they're maybe waiting to enter the portal, those are going to start hitting the streets here pretty soon. And so NC State, they're going to start moving and shaking a little bit. If you want to bring in proven talent, it's getting to be just about that time. So the first name I'll bring up here is Trey Holloman. He's a guard from Michigan State. He wasn't quite the guy with the Spartans, but he was a very nice supplemental piece. He averaged 3.7 assists per game, and that's not even being the starting point guard. So I think that's a very impressive place to start. He averaged 9.1 points a game, just under 2 rebounds a game, shot 37% from the floor, 33% from deep. Trey Holloman, I think, would be a really nice piece for NC State to get interested in. And not just because he's also looking at Carolina, so perhaps you can get a moral victory if you do win the recruitment of Trey Holloman to NC State. But Trey Holloman has been in a proven system. He's played for Tom Izzo. We all know what Izzo is. He is a winner. In fact, they named the month of March after him for how often he experiences postseason success. So I'm more than willing to take a flyer for not just a player, but a point guard from that type of system that is a proven force in college basketball every year. We know that Michigan State will recruit at the highest level each and every year in college basketball. And for Trey Holloman to have 3 years of experience under his belt at Michigan State, I think there's certainly a lot he can bring to the table for NC State.
Yeah, when I look at Holloman, I see him as not only a potential depth piece, but I can see him as a potential starter at the point guard position. Because, again, when you watch Will Wade teams roll, it is never just one guy who gets it done. It's never just hey, we've got one guy who can score, everybody else get out the way and let him cook and do his thing. It's always coming at you in waves. It's always coming at you with multiple guys who can fill up the bucket. That's what we're looking at here. And at the end of the day, Holloman is a guy who can be that table setter, who can be that primary ball handler that'll get you in the good position, that'll find you when you are in a good position. So honestly and truly, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him land in Raleigh. I'd be very excited about it. When we talk about the Will Wade effect in recruiting, I really want people to realize we're talking about better players, higher level players than we have to NC State in quite some time for a reason. That's what's going on right now. And again, buckle up because it's going to be a great time to be a Wolfpack fan coming up very soon here.
Yeah, and part of the reason I wanted to talk about point guards today is because oftentimes it's referred to as the quarterback position of basketball. And we all know the quarterback position in football is recruited around. They build teams around the quarterback position. I don't think the point guard in basketball is all that different. When you have a show-stopping point guard, he can spread the floor, find the open man, and score a little bit for himself. Everyone loves to talk about Markell Johnson. That level of talent is what we're looking for. A show-stopping guy. He could do it a little himself, but get everyone also involved in the process. I'm not saying Trey Holloman is that direct answer, but I certainly think he has a lot of the skills necessary to potentially get to that level. Perhaps he comes to NC State and he unlocks another level of his own ability and becomes that showstopper, floor general supreme. So I think Trey Holloman is certainly an interesting name to keep an eye on here. Another name I saw is Rob Wright. Now, Rob Wright is a guard from Baylor. He was one of the top guards in the country coming out of high school. He was a freshman with the Baylor Bears this year. He averaged 11.5 points, 2.1 rebounds, 4.2 assists on 41% shooting and 35% from deep. Rob Wright is a player that's going to attract a heavy price tag, I'd have to imagine. Also, teams like Carolina are getting involved. Probably teams like Texas are going to give him a good look. And I've seen some people kind of worried about NC State potentially getting outbid in these types of situations. There was a comment on Twitter, I think it was Winston Lohman, shout out Winston, but basically he's saying this player, XYZ, would cost a pretty penny. NC State has a couple of those pretty pennies in their pocket. I know it's kind of hard to still conceptualize that for NC State because we've never really been in this type of situation before, but all the NIL, it's not going to be for nothing. Picture the Joker in The Dark Knight. I think this is my second consecutive day using a Batman reference, but remember when the Joker has like those gigantic stacks of money and then he lights them all on fire and says, it's not about the money, it's about sending the message. For Will Wade right now, it's going to be about both. He's going to use all the money that we have in the NC State program right now to send a message. And that, my friends, is where it's going to get real scary real quickly. Now, again, I'm not saying Rob Wright is going to be coming to NC State. In fact, we don't even know if he's interested in NC State quite yet, but his level of talent, that type of player, That's what NC State is going to start targeting here in the near future. I'd have to imagine we're going to get a very well-renowned point guard, and it might be someone that's not even in the portal yet. Again, we still have a couple more weeks for names to enter the portal. So I think we're reaching the point where NC State's going to start taking some pretty big swings, some big hacks, if you will, because we'll talk about NC State baseball here in just a little bit as well. Will Wade and Andrew Slater and Patrick Stacy getting aggressive? Yeah, I'll sign for that. One, please.
I'll tell you this much. Rob Wright is not your traditional Will Wade point guard. He's a little undersized. He's much more that water bug, that lightning bug type of point guard where he just finds ways to get in those creases. He just finds ways to put pressure on defenses, and he gets very creative around the rim. But the best thing that I've seen in his game is if you get open, he will find you. If you get open, he will find you, and he is definitely a pass-first guy. His stats would indicate that he's a combo guard. Watch the games. He is a pass-first guy. He's looking to feed at other people and set them up. It just so happened to be that, teams read that in the scouting report and were like, oh, no, we're going to sag off and play the passing lane, to which, credit to his awareness, he's going to go up to finish. So I really do think that Rob Wright, he would be a good get, but I wouldn't be surprised if again, Will Wade was like, he's not necessarily my type of guy. But even if he is, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Coming up next, speaking about the financials surrounding NC State basketball, there was another announcement of an additional staff member. More on Patrick Stacy after a quick word from our sponsors. Our Wednesday sponsor is Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the most reliable way to order all of your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from the top 400-plus brands, you'll always find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always be able to talk to a real person and not a robot. And for trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM, capital T, capital M, and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use their promo code SH5, that's capital S, capital H, and the number 5 for 5% off of your first order, only on supplyhouse.com. Middle portion of our Wednesday show, we've spent a lot of time discussing Will Wade and the staff that he's been building out of all of his assistant coaches, Andrew Slater as the general manager of NC State basketball. There was another announcement on Tuesday, the official announcement of the assistant GM. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago that this was very likely something to be coming down the pipeline. Patrick Stacy has now been named the official assistant general manager for NC State basketball. Stacy will join NC State from Wyoming, of all places. Seems very random, but he was the general manager for Wyoming basketball. But here's where it gets very interesting when you're looking at his resume. Patrick Stacy is the founder of Jam Basketball Intelligence, not Space Jam, not jam that you put on your toast, Jam Basketball Intelligence. Now, what is that, you might wonder? JBI, I'll call it for short, is a company that constructs pregame scouting reports which identify strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies of any opponent you play in college basketball. So Will Wade, we all know that he's very much an analytics guy. He relies on the numbers. His assistant coaching staff goes very deep into digging through numbers and finding, tendencies of players, utilizing the most optimal lineups, getting the right players in the right positions at the right times. Patrick Stacy literally founded a website that is built for doing. I took some time scrolling through the website for Jam Basketball Intelligence. Their mission statement, just for one, is distinguished scouting and analytics consultancy committed to achieving championship-level success. They also have some of the college basketball teams posted, basically signifying that they are in use of JBI's analytics. The first two you see, the Kansas Jayhawks, they won the championship in 2022, and the Houston Cougars, they seem mighty relevant right now. They were almost national champions on Monday night, came up a little bit short. I also see the McNeese State Cowboys. Does that ring a bell for anybody? Yes. Will Wade has already been identifying game plans using these analytics from Patrick Stacy. Have to imagine that's where the very easy connection was made here. I also see the Indiana State Sycamores, who won their conference, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits of the Summit League, and the Loyola Chicago Ram. Patrick Stacy was also on staff for Loyola Chicago when they had that Sister Jean Final Four run back in 2018. So this is one hell of a resume. We talked about Will Wade assembling what seems to be like the Avengers of a coaching staff here. Patrick Stacy seems to me like Bruce Banner, maybe minus all the Hulk stuff.
I'm one of those people that's like, get these nerds away from my sports. Except when the nerds are working for me. And here's the thing, right? As much as I joke about, get these nerds away from my sports, in all seriousness, the analytics, the numbers, the people who run the data, the people who do all those things is extremely important. And I'm going to tell you something. If you look at a turnaround like McNeese's, a school that doesn't have or didn't have much of an NIL allotment, in a conference where most of them didn't have NIL allotment, you're talking some pure hoops. You're talking pure mano a mano, let's figure this thing out type of deal, where your talent discrepancy generally won't be as large as what we see in some high major programs. And yet, the largest margin of victory in any conference last year was McNeese State.
That is no accident.
It's no accident. So I'm excited to have them on board. Again, when those nerds are working for you, it's an entirely different story. Hey, no hard feelings about any athletes that may have pushed those nerds in lockers and whatnot. They were bad people. I'm joking. Those are 90s movies, but at least people don't do that anymore, I don't think. But in all seriousness, I'm very excited about this staff that Will Wade is putting together, man. I am so excited about this staff that Will Wade is putting together. This is giving me the feeling of, again, NC State is sparing no expense. This is a moment where you cannot say, again, even if this doesn't work out, which I highly doubt that that'll be the case. Even if that's the case, guess what you're seeing from NC State right now? Every single thing that we've got to throw at this thing in order to win, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're giving every player, every coach, every thought, every up, every down. This is the type of stuff that serious programs do. And so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, this is leaving no stone unturned for NC State staff here. And for those of you that have seen the movie Moneyball, which was the true story of the Oakland Athletics in the early 2000s, and Billy Beane, who was their GM back then, he wanted to kind of rework how the front office would look at analytics and go about their player acquisition, finding the players that have the most value for not exactly the highest price tag. This kind of feels like that. Patrick Stacy kind of feels like the assistant that was played by Jonah Hill. Really, really smart guy, came up with his own way of identifying talent. That's what Patrick Stacy has done here. And I've also read that Patrick Stacy was a former financial analyst. So again, Moneyball, there's your money guy. You got Andrew Slater, who's basically a thief in the night with the amount of connections he has in college basketball. And Patrick Stacy is the analytical money guy. I want to say this, and it's going to come across as hyperbole, but I think it'll end up being very true. The way that you're watching Will Wade construct this staff and what this staff is about to do, I genuinely think it's going to rework the landscape of college basketball. I think teams across the country are going to look at how Will Wade is assembling this staff and the things that they're relying, which is deeper analytics and scouting and using true analysis to build a roster year in and year out. I really do think that they're about to change the game. And that was one of the first things you saw when Will Wade was first linked to Andrew Slater. You saw all the national basketball guys saying, oh man, those two are going to be a dangerous combination. This is why. They're going to bring in guys that are taking a little bit of a different approach to this thing, thinking outside of the box, and you're going to get far different results than anything that we've ever had here at NC State. This coaching staff is building a product that's going to change college basketball. You can quote me on that. I'll quote it tomorrow, and I'll put it on Twitter. 10 toes down. They will change the sport. That's what they're building on this coaching staff in Raleigh.
Hey, listen, I don't need you to change the sport. I just need you to change our banner situation in Raleigh. That's it.
That comes later.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if nobody wants to follow how you do it. I don't care. Hey, listen. By the way, have you noticed Will Wade wears a lot of black? Is that just me? Is that every time I see him in Every time I see him in a state pullover, it's rarely ever a red one or a white one dominant color, at least. It's always the black one. I'm not saying he listens to Locked On Wolfpack. Not saying he wants to be the black hat guy. Not saying that. Hey, Will, if you are listening, we'd love to have your own brother. Send us a DM. We'll make it happen. But in all seriousness, this is a moment where, again, we're doing the things that are different, that some people may look at and say, that's a little strange. That people may not like your guy. Detroit Lions fan here, everybody hates our guy, or at least they hated him after the original press conference. Everybody's like, oh, this guy talking about biting kneecaps. He's terrible. Oh, he's going to be so bad. When he gets coached in the history of the Lions so far, done a pretty good job. So I think it's the same thing with Will Wade and all these, like you said, the feet are shuffling because they know hires like Slater, hires like Stacy, these are the types of hires that, again, people are going to look at this, may not like it, may think, oh, God, I don't like that Will Wade guy. He just does it his own way. And it's fine. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like us. We are not building a program to be liked. We are not building a program to be, oh, did those lovable losers in Raleigh win something? We're building the empire that people are going to look at and be like, again, NC State's here again. I'm tired of seeing them. Get this out of here. But that's what the hope is.
To get to places you've never been, you have to do things that you've never done. Will Wade and this staff is doing that each and every day since they've been in Raleigh. Patrick Stacy is the latest addition to this coaching staff. He will serve as the assistant general manager for the Wolfpack, a money guy, analytics guy. He is here to literally change the game. Coming up next, we're going to talk Wolfpack baseball. Great win on the road on Tuesday night out in Greenville. Sunk the Pirates. We'll talk more on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Last couple of minutes of our Wednesday show, rounding this out with some Wolfpack baseball. A 4-1 victory on the road at ECU on Tuesday night. Man, does this one feel good. Obviously, we've had our previous struggles in the midweek, and that kind of transformed into some Sunday scaries up until this last weekend against Virginia. But to go on the road in what was a sold-out environment, because, yes, of course it was. They're always going to sell it out when NC State comes to town. To go on the road in that environment and get what felt like a relatively comfortable win, even though it was a close game, it feels so good. And that is exactly what the doctor ordered for this team if they want to continue momentum here in the coming weeks. Cooper Consiglio got the start on the mound for the Wolfpack. It was a very brief outing, a little bit of a bullpen game. He skirted danger a couple times, had some untimely walks, but always found a way out of trouble in the end. Jackson Lucas and Anderson Nance. Anderson Nance is a dog, a D-A-W-G dog. 5 innings of relief, 5 strikeouts, only allowed 1 hit. He earns the win in relief. And Jacob Duden, he's back. Jacob Duden's back. 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they were pretty much non-competitive. That slider was sliding, the stuff was stuffing, and the Wolfpack on Tuesday night were winning.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up that Pirates pack. How's it going,
right.
Puffing on those bozos? Oh,
right.
man. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, you guys are terrible. You post AMAC. Hey, listen. AMAC's going now. By the way, he bossed up his life and got a visit to the College World Series. He was never going to get to Omaha with you. It was never going to be you. It was never going to be you. And now look at us a year later. Oh, your guy's going now. He would have been going off your team anyway. Oh, wait till football season. Don't worry. We'll see you. You had your chance. You had your chance to show everybody, oh, we're the best team. Yeah, we're the team. Again, you know your place. Know your place. This ain't that, and that ain't this. You can sell out your stadium. You can sell out you can sell out the home, away, all that good stuff. Good for you. Good for you. Just know when the game ends and you're playing against NC State, whether you're scoring runs, whether you're scoring points, whether you're scoring pins, doesn't matter what the game is. Doesn't matter if it's a spitting or pissing contest. Don't worry. We'll beat you in those too. Don't worry. Again, you don't like us. We don't like you either. And this game is just another example of the fact that there's a pecking order. there's a pecking order, and you, my friends, are not at the top of it. Nowhere near it. So, stay where you are. Great job to Elliot Avon and the boys. I'll tell you what, they've been doing a hell of a job in the midweeks this year. They've been doing a hell of a job in the midweeks this year. Much better. And, this is a quality win. As much as I talk about the guys in Greenville, and as much as I talk about the Pirates saying, oh, we're going to meet you. I got a lot of texts after the bowl game when NC State lost. Didn't get so many texts today. Grayson, did you get any texts from your Pirate friends? Oh. So don't worry. Hey, great job by Avon and the boys. I'll be sending those texts out. Matter of fact, I'm going to schedule all of them because Apple just released that feature not too long ago. I'm going to schedule everybody to get 5 a.m. texts from me. Hey, how's your school doing in baseball? They just played. They just lose the other day. Oh, man, it's so unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been cricket out this way. Not even just on my cell phone. If you go outside and listen, you might hear some crickets coming all the way from Greenville. Their offense was limited to virtually nothing. Wolfpack pitching staff only gave up 3 hits. We scattered 9 hits offensively ourselves. Josh Hogue went yard again. He went yard in the first inning, picking up directly where he left off from Sunday afternoon. We really didn't need a whole lot of offense to escape with the win in this one. Again, only plated 4 runs. Justin DeCrisio had a massive RBI single there late in the game to pick up a much-needed insurance run in the top of the 9th inning. Just a great win. Feels really good to get this one. We have much more on our plate, obviously. Louisville comes to town this weekend. That's another high-stakes ACC series, but it just feels good to get back on track kind of consistently because last year the midweeks were a complete mess. We've had several unsuccessful run-ins with ECU baseball these last couple of years. We're on to better things, and this won't be the last time we see them either. They're going to have to come to Raleigh. Certainly sets us up for a little midweek sweep over the Pirates here in 2025. So 4-1 victory on the road out in Greenville. Just looking to keep this thing rolling. Louisville comes to town this weekend. Looking forward to hopefully another ACC series win. That will do it for us here on Wednesday. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Give us your thoughts on where NC State's coaching staff should target their sights next. Do you want them to go after a big fish point guard, a big fish big man? That's probably going to be the main answer. I've seen some concern, but don't worry. The big men are going to come to State as well. Give us your thoughts on Patrick Stacy officially joining the Wolfpack staff, and give us your thoughts on Wolfpack baseball getting the road win at ECU on Tuesday evening. Delicioso. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Thursday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.